For ages, we've stared at the sun, amazed by its power and feeling its warmth, but also a bit scared of its silence. But what if it wasn't really silent? What if we just weren't listening hard enough? Back in 2018, NASA launched the Parker Solar Probe on a wild mission to fly right into the sun's atmosphere. The job was easy. Check out the solar wind, figure out the corona, and don't burn up. But the secret pictures it took showed something way more complex. When Parker got super close, it didn't just get readings. It bumped into something old, weird, and maybe even smart. This isn't the sun your textbook showed you. This is the star we thought we knew, but now it's showing its true face. And what Parker sent back might confirm our worst fear that something inside the sun is watching us. Getting to the sun isn't just a simple launch, you have to fall toward it. The gravity is so strong it warps space. Parker got pulled in and sped up to over 430,000 miles per hour. That's like circling Earth 17 times in an hour. But it wasn't just about going fast. The probe was made to go 5 solar diameters from the sun's surface. To not melt, it had a special heat shield made of thick carbon that always faced the sun. Even with all that, something strange happened. Parker's path changed a little on several passes, not cause of gravity, but more like something invisible was messing with it. It shifted course by tiny amounts. Engineers said it was just bad data. But in the logs, a pattern came up. Each shift went with magnetic spikes in the corona. It was like something in the sun's atmosphere wasn't just messy plasma, but actually had some structure. And that structure might have been watching Parker as it flew by. The corona is super hot, way hotter than the sun's surface, even though it's farther away. This doesn't make sense. Heat should go out, not back in. But Parker's instruments saw worse than a temp thing. They saw huge bursts of energy that didn't come from solar flares or sunspots. These bursts moved like waves, all together and focused. One hit the probe so hard it had to turn itself around fast. It was like something had fired on purpose. When scientists traced the burst back, it came from a part of the corona that they thought was quiet. That quiet zone was now flashing with electromagnetic pulses that no one had ever seen from the sun. Could the corona be more than just plasma? Could it be talking? If so, we're not just seeing energy, we're seeing someone trying to talk to us. Hidden inside Parker is a memory card. It has a photo of Eugene Parker with his solar wind paper and the names of 1.1 million people from Earth. After Parker got really close to the sun, engineers checked the data and saw something weird. The memory card's magnetic shield changed when there was a lot of solar radiation, but it wasn't random. It changed in a pattern. The engineers were shocked. It wasn't mistakes, it was data, like something had written to the card from the sun. The engineers compared the magnetic changes to simple digital signals. Could the sun affect the probe, or did it respond? Parker had sensors to measure light, and when it got close, something strange happened. Part of the light just vanished. The sensors showed nothing, even though the probe was in full sunlight. For 11 seconds, Parker went through an area where there was no light. The other stuff was still working. No damage, no shadow, just gone. On a map, this blackout zone looked like a precise corridor. Nothing we know about the sun can make a place where light just stops. Scientists didn't say much. Some thought it was some weird plasma thing. But one note called it the shadow gate. If light can be changed in the sun's outer layer, who's doing it? During one of Parker's last data dumps, its radio picked up some weird low-frequency waves that seemed like interference at first. But when they looked closer, they saw a pattern, not just bursts, but pulses that repeated like Morse code. What was shocking was that the signal had a bounce back, like a sonar ping, but there was nothing nearby. No satellite, no debris, just plasma. So, what responded? The software said the pattern wasn't natural. Worse, there were many frequencies at once, like voices in a choir. NASA didn't share this, but a piece leaked, and cryptographers think it loops back on itself. Could it be the sun's language? Or did Parker go through a place that was broadcasting something smart? Parker's heat shield can handle crazy heat. During a pass in 2024, something broke through it, not physically, but with energy. A sensor inside showed a huge spike in temp for 0.2 seconds. No damage. But one of the radiation detectors turned on. The energy had gotten through the shield and reached the core. It wasn't just heat. It was a frequency-based pulse. It happened when the light blackout was seen. Some think the sun can shoot energy beams across its atmosphere. For the first time, Parker wasn't just measuring the sun, it was being measured. On its last approach, Parker's plasma tools got something really weird. Columns of charged particles were reaching out from the sun. They weren't solar flares, but they were structured and symmetrical. They stretched out really far and moved like they were being guided. They were called coronal fingers. When Parker got close, one bent toward the spacecraft, like it knew where it was going. Gases should spread out, not reach. The image showed a filament with a spiral tip. One scientist said, it looked like it was reaching for us. No one published that, but they all knew what it meant. The scariest thing was what Parker didn't record. In 2025, during a close pass, all the instruments showed normal stuff for 91 seconds, but when the data got back to Earth, it was empty. The time was there, and the system was working, but there was no sensor data. Nothing like this has ever happened. Some think it went through an area that messed up its ability to measure. Others think it found something designed to blind it. But one note on the file said, we weren't allowed to see. We sent Parker to touch the sun, but it brought back something else. Something no one expected. It wasn't just about fields or particles. It was the silence, the echoes, the structured darkness, the voices. It wasn't the mission we were told. Parker didn't just study a star. It saw something old and aware. And before the silence, it might have looked back. NASA gave Parker a shield, but maybe it needed permission. Now the files are encrypted. A memory card carries names and the sun may never be seen the same. If you think there's more to our solar system than we know, subscribe and comment. Do you think the sun is just plasma, or something more conscious, old, and watching? While no one said anything official, experts compared the magnetic changes to basic digital communication signals. The question isn't just could the sun mess with the probe, but did it respond? Parker had sensors to check light at different levels. During one close pass, a part of the light just disappeared. It didn't dim or scatter, it vanished. The sensors recorded nothing despite the probe being in sunlight. For 11 seconds, Parker went through a spot where light stopped. The other sensors still worked. The probe faced the right way. No damage, no shadow, just nothing. On a map, this dark zone looked like a tunnel, precise and clear. No known solar thing can make a tunnel of total darkness. Scientists had no idea. Some guessed weird plasma stuff. Others stayed quiet. But one memo called it the shadow gate. If light can be messed with in the sun's outer layer, who or what is doing it? During one of Parker's last downloads, radio instruments logged some low waves. At first, it seemed like interference, which is normal in the solar atmosphere. But experts saw something in the wave, modulation. Not random noise, but set pulses that repeated on a frequency barely audible to people. One person compared it to Morse code, but more complex. The shocking thing was that the signal seemed to echo, like a sonar ping, but there was nothing nearby. No satellites, no junk, just plasma. So, what answered? The probe software said the pattern wasn't natural. Plus, it wasn't just one signal but many levels like voices in a choir. NASA never showed this, but a piece leaked, and experts think it has a repeating pattern, data going back on itself. Could it be the sun's own language? Or did Parker fly through a place broadcasting something really smart? Parker's heat shield is really tough and can handle over 1,400 degrees Celsius. During a pass in 2024, something broke through it, not physically, but energetically. A spike hit an internal sensor far beyond what was expected for only a fraction of a second. No harm, no alarm. But inside, a radiation detector turned on. The energy went through the shield and hit the core. This wasn't just heat. It was a frequency-based pulse that happened when the light blackout was spotted. Some think the sun can shoot focused energy beams, invisible and tunable, like a lens. And for the first time, Parker wasn't just measuring the sun, it was being scanned. On its next-to-last pass, Parker's tools showed columns of charged particles reaching out from the corona. These weren't normal solar things, they were structured, thin, and symmetrical. They moved like they were guided. Scientists called them coronal fingers, plasma-shaped like spires. But as Parker came near one, it bent toward the spacecraft moving to line up with it. No solar model can explain this. Gases should spread out, but this one reached. Only once did Parker get an image of this, a filament with a spiral tip, like a tendril. One physicist wrote, "It looked like it was reaching for us." No one published that, but they knew. The scariest moment was what Parker didn't record. In 2025, during a close pass, the probe took data as normal. For 91 seconds, everything seemed fine. But when the data got back, the logs were blank. The time was there, the operation showed, but everything was zero. No other NASA probe has ever had a blackout like that. The system said everything was on, but the sensors were silent. Some think the probe flew through a zone that messed with its instruments. Others think it met something that blinded it. But one mission leader wrote in red across a readout, "We weren't allowed to see. We sent Parker to touch the sun, but it brought back more than data." It was something no one expected. It wasn't just about magnetic fields, it was the silence, the echoes, the darkness, the voices, and the plasma hands. This was not the mission we were told. Parker didn't just study a star. It went into something older, something aware. And maybe it looked back. NASA gave Parker a shield, but it might have needed something else, permission. Now, the files are locked. A memory card has the names of 1 million people. And the sun might never be seen the same way again. If you think there's more to our solar system than we know, subscribe and comment. Do you think the sun is just plasma or something more?